In this section, we're going to follow through with our house in Webster Park that we found a 12-month supply and demand, being that there was 33 closed sales over the past year and there's currently 33 active listings. Um, in doing this, we set up the neighborhood and found the true neighborhood statistics for Webster Park, and then we overwrote those so that they locked, and we re-imported the primary analysis so that we resulted in a different supply and demand than what our neighborhood would show, because there was only 6 sales available for analysis. So in this case, though, we're going to assume that the house is, we'll say, since Webster Park's high end was 170, that we think the house is going to be more like 180, 190 because it's just high quality or something along those lines. So what we want to do is pull a new criteria, and we still want to report the supply and demand for Spring Valley, for instance. I mean, maybe you don't, maybe you just want to do one, but this is just for example purposes and to give you an idea of how to do a secondary supply and demand analysis. So the first thing you want to do is come up to the top and hit View, and then we have Hidden Sheets, and in here there is a supply and demand secondary, and you'll see that it adds itself to the bottom. And then we're going to go back to View one more time, and then Hidden Sheets. And we need the import secondary, and that's the same as our import primary, but this is going to be linked to the new sheet that we just imported, the supply and demand secondary. Now in here, the first question regards the REO comment, which you may decide to make later. The decision as to whether or not you want this REO comment or the one from your primary tab, but you're only going to be able to select one with the worksheet method. And if you do want to mix them up and combine them later on, you can do that after you have the report open. Next, you're going to select whether or not you use detached, attached 2 to 4 units, and followed by your criteria. Now you can get a little creative with the criteria if you get down to the bottom and do the within setup. And in order to do that, we're going to take a look at our secondary supply and demand analysis. Since it's a real high-end, $190,000 home, we think, in Webster Park, we're going to look at Spring Valley, LaSalle, Peru, and Oglesby for homes that are valued at 150 to 200,000, and just run a supply and demand analysis based on this different data, because we want to get more specific and see how things are going around the surrounding areas and see how much what the options are like for buyers. So from here, after we've set this up, and this is going to be all actives and closed and pending, and then 24 months, no map because we use the area, and then we got specific with one search criteria item, so price. I'm going to go over and download my results, and of course after this we hit our drop down menu, choose download for market conditions, followed by next, followed by continue, and then we'll see it always downloads here at the bottom, the far left. Back at the top, we're going to click on tutorial, and again, yours may be on 2 monitors, so it might look a little different. And we're going to import our secondary data. So I'm going to go over to import secondary. It's going to be down most likely by import primary into Form C. We're going to hit File, Import, Upload. And then the last one I downloaded, I'm going to paste right into the report, followed by replace current sheet and import. And in here we'll have the data we just pulled from the MLS, which is 150,000 to 200,000 in the 4 areas we selected. And this was just for a secondary analysis to, maybe see how more comparables more comparable properties are doing in the subject's market area. What you saw me do down there was I just was moving the tabs around because I noticed that this was out of order with the primary. All you have to do is click, hold, and you can drag them around to whatever location you may want to in the sheet. You can also re-hide tabs by right-clicking and clicking hide, but we'll go into more functionality in another video. So here we see that currently there's only been 22 closed sales in all those areas over the past year. 17 active listings are currently available, but we need to explain what our criteria was. So if we follow this template, within the subject's neighborhood boundaries, within 1 mile of the subject property, within 5 miles of the subject property, and we do a write-in at the bottom here and assume within is already written, we're going to say within. You can get a little creative here, or you can just say, just the cities. But the problem is, we didn't just say, we can't just say there are 22 closed sales within Spring Valley, LaSalle, Peru, and Oglesby. So let's get this in here. And then we're going to have to actually edit this comment afterwards so that we can kind of adjust what it's saying. We have a pretty good base for it, but we're going to copy it. So right click in the comment, copy it, right click again, and paste special, paste values only. And there's a quick reference for that up here at the top, just in case you want to do it and just want to double check that you're following the correct steps there. If you click back in the cell, now we have a fully editable comment, and it's going to read a little funny because we do need to make some changes. So there were 22 closed sales of detached single-family homes within Spring Valley, LaSalle, Peru, and Oglesby. Well, that should say something more in the effect of there were 22 comparable closed sales of detached single-family homes within Spring Valley, LaSalle, Peru, and Oglesby. Now, obviously, I wasn't very specific in just looking at 150 to 200,000, so truly it isn't comparable. This was more for example purposes to show you that you can run a secondary supply and demand analysis, and you can also edit the comment that shows up here to make sure that it does fit what you're trying to state. And if you do decide that you want this comment to be in your report, you may have to do the same up here. So there were 22 comparable closed sales of detached single-family homes within Spring Valley, and that's your REO comment, which really is a good way to figure out what your REO comment should be in regards to your TINO Form C that is only comparable properties. Also, after you've done this import secondary and import primary, at the end when you get to your commentary tab, you'll notice that both paragraphs show up here. So you are able to add both to the report. If you don't want one, you can leave one out, or you can combine them or do whatever you want. But this gives you a quick reference to get both the comments and get them into the report later on. And also, if somebody else is starting your report for you, then they'll know that you did two supply and demand analysis while you were running your market conditions. So I hope this was helpful. We'll get further into the worksheet later on when we get into import TINO Form C and the TINO Form C and comp grids. Just keep plugging along. You guys are doing great.